Whether it's a white lie, lie by omission, or a life-changing lie, a lie is a lie. This is something I've struggled with my whole life. Maybe you have too. Let's talk about it. My whole life, since I was a little kid, I just remember always struggling with lying. Lying about what I did, what I didn't do, lying to get things, lying to not receive things. I just remember always struggling with lying. While I was going through middle school, high school, I was hoping to one day overcome lying. I thought maybe when I got married that would solve the problem. It didn't. When I became a father, I still struggled with lying. When I became a pastor, I still struggled with lying. I remember just sitting there struggling and being frustrated with this struggle in my life, with this sin in my life, and wanting to remove it, wanting it to be gone, but not knowing what to do about it. I kept falling into lying, changing stories, altering what happened just to make myself sound better, make myself sound stronger, smarter, funnier. These are things that I would do to try to gain approval from people, try to work my way up a ladder. This affected my home life. This affected my relationship with my spouse, my wife. This affected my relationship with my kids. This affected my career. These are things that are all changed because of what some people would consider a little white lie, or would consider something as not a big deal. It's socially acceptable in a lot of areas, but it wasn't something I wanted to accept in my life anymore. The funny thing is, I was lying to make myself look trustworthy. I was wanting to be trustworthy. I was wanting to be an honorable person. I was wanting to be someone that people looked up to. When it came down to it, I was lying out of fear. I was lying to try to control a situation. I didn't know how people would react to who I am or what I was like. I didn't know what people would think of me if they knew the real me. I didn't know how people would receive me or what they would think about me, what kind of person I would look like to them, and I wanted to control that situation. I was telling false narratives all the time. I was trying to make myself look better than I was, and I needed to remove that. I wanted to become the person that God wanted me to become, the person God created me to become. I wanted to be able to say who I was. And I was concerned more about what other people were thinking about me, rather than knowing what God thinks about me and who God created me to be. Rather than seeking out who I am through Him, I was trying to create who I wanted to be based off of picking the things I liked about other people, the people I looked up to, the people I wanted to be like. I tried to create myself like that. To overcome my fear, I had to learn the truth, because the truth will set you free, the Bible talks about. So if I have this fear in my life, this fear is weighing me down. This fear is like handcuffs. This fear is like weight pulling me down constantly, because I'm telling stories to different people and they don't all line up. So if they start talking to each other, I'm getting wrapped up in different things. And I might not actually follow through with the things that I'm saying. And if I'm lying, I'm just creating all this extra weight. Life is hard enough. There's enough stress and anxiety in life. Then to add on your own creation through the lies that you're telling creates so much extra stress. So to create that freedom, you find freedom in truth. So I had to go and find truth. If you're asking, hey, I sound just like you, Doug. I go through the same thing. I'm struggling and I don't like it. I don't want to do it. I'm lying to the people I love and I wish I could change. This is how you do it. This is the first step, is you have to find the truth. You have to find out the truth, and the truth is in the Bible. The truth is in God, because He's the one that created us. He's the one that can tell us who we are. He's the one that can tell you, I made you like this so that you could achieve that. And He's going to guide us through each way that we should be parenting, and how we should be loving our spouse, and what career we should go on, and what we should say yes to and what we should say no to, and how to tell people about things. Because if we are just trying to tell them for approval, if we're trying to constantly gain and we're fearful that they might think something of us, then we are seeking approval from someone else besides God. So I want to encourage you to start diving into that. Hey God, I want to read the Bible today to know more about you and who you created me to be. What do you say about me? You say I'm loved. What do you say about me? You say I'm blessed. You say I'm favored. We don't have to earn that. That's something that God has given to us as a blessing. Those things take time. Those things definitely take time. And the next two things I'm about to share with you take time also. You think about things that are good for you. You think about things that bring the best in your life take time. Like if you think of like kefir, you think of sourdough, you think of kombucha, you think of all these different things that take time where you start them and you have to leave them and you have to let them develop. You have to let them grow. You have to let them become something. You don't eat them right away. You don't consume them right away because it's becoming something that's going to be so good for you. It's the same with your devotions. Your devotions take time to develop. Your relationship with God takes time to grow and become powerful and do the thing that you're wanting it to do and changing and altering in your life. So how did I stop compulsively lying? What are the things that you can do? What are the things that I did? I have 2 of them for you. Number 1, get real with yourself. Talk to yourself about it. If you can't seem to get it out to yourself, at least write it down and then eventually start reading it to yourself. Not proclaiming it over yourself, but we need to not deny what's going on in our life. We need to say, God, this is what I'm struggling with. Take this into your prayer time. Take this into your devotion time. And then eventually start taking it to your spouse. Like, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm struggling with every time I'm around someone or these people or anyone. I start telling a story. I just want to exaggerate it. It's hard for me to admit when I'm wrong. It's hard for me to admit that I broke something. Whatever the situation is, there's so many different situations, but it's all the same thing. Honey, babe, whatever you call your wife, I am struggling with admitting a lie because I am fearful that you won't love me anymore. I'm fearful that, the kids won't care about me anymore. I'm fearful that my career will fall down. I'm whatever you're fearful of. But you need to be able to admit that to yourself first before admitting that to someone else. So I had to admit it to myself first, and then eventually start taking it to my wife, and eventually being able to walk this out every day, let her help keep me accountable. Be able to sit down and have conversations with her. Thing 2 I did to help break my compulsive lying is listen to my gut and always tell the truth. I had this gut feeling every time I start exaggerating a story, every time I want to tell something that's not true or kind of leave something out of a story because I don't want to admit to something. I don't want the repercussions of whatever could potentially happen if someone knew what really happened. Or I just want to look funny or whatever it is. I had this gut feeling that I knew this doesn't feel right, and I kind of pushed through it and would start lying. But I'd always have this gut feeling. I would call it the Holy Spirit speaking to me. I would say God's trying to tell me and guide me to what to do and what not to do. But you might just call it a gut feeling. I have a gut feeling that I need to stop doing this, and you need to listen to that gut feeling. And every time you listen to it, every time you listen to your gut, every time you listen to the Holy Spirit, it's going to get stronger because you're being obedient. It's going to get greater and easier because you're creating a new habit. And then a third thing, it's not even in my notes, but I want to share with you a third thing that I did and I still do, because this is something I have to battle every day, because this is something that I was doing for 20 some years. So I can't expect 20 some days to go by and it just not be a problem anymore. This is something I constantly have to make sure I'm paying attention to in my conversations, in my relationships. So what I do as a third point here, something to help remove this compulsive lying, is if I lie and I say something that's untrue or leave something out or lie because I'm fearful of what's going to happen, I immediately have to acknowledge it right then. Immediately go back. No, hey honey, actually that's not true. That's not the way it should be. That's not what happened. That's you immediately have to. And I'm not always the best at this. This is still hard. But this is something we need to do, knowing that we are trying so hard. We're admitting. Number 1, we're admitting. We're being honest with ourselves. We're starting to talk to our spouse. This is a problem. Number 2, I'm listening to my gut. I'm always telling the truth, but knowing sometimes I'm going to miss it. Sometimes I'm going to fall back into this cycle that I've been in for so many years. Knowing, not that that's okay, but that it's okay to then come out and say, hey, no, I messed up again. No, actually. And you'll be surprised the grace that is given to you when you are opening up and saying, hey, I missed it. I'm admitting it now. So before we're done here today, I want to give you 4 takeaway questions that you can run with right now to start helping you on your path to becoming better. Question number 1, I want you to ask yourself, what do you struggle with? What is it? Is it lying? Is it pornography? Is it lust? Is it anger? Is it fear? Is it anxiety? What is it that you are dealing with? What is your problem? What is your struggle? What do you keep falling back into over and over again? You always find yourself saying, I wish I could be done with this, because this applies to more than just lying. but is it lying? I want you to figure out what is your big struggle. And then number 2, I want you to answer the question, where have you messed up? What relationships have been broken or hurt or damaged because of your lying? Is it your wife? Is it your kids? Is it your work? Is it some friends from school? What is it? Who has been affected by this? Because we need to address them. We need to start realizing, ooh, this has affected more than just me. And then question number 3 for you to ask yourself is, what am I fearing? Why do I keep falling back into this? It's probably because of a fear, just like me. I was fearing what people would think about me. I was fearing how I would look, how I would come off, how I'd be respected, how I'd be honored, whatever, those sort of things. I wanted to be more, and I was trying to create it for myself. So I was in fear. What are you fearing that's drawing you to not being who God's called you to be? To lying, to being angry? Are you fearing that you won't have enough power, or you won't have enough say, or what? And that's why you fall into anger, and that's why you fall into stress and anxiety. What are you fearing that brings you fear? What is the root of it? And then the 4th thing that you can take away and start answering is, what is the truth about that? I might be fearing that I can't tell my wife the truth, but I need to tell myself the truth, that my wife loves me and she wants to help me. She chose to marry me and she wants to help me through this. God says he loves me. That's the truth. God says he made me for a purpose. He's called me a king. He's called me a queen. That he's called us royalty and in his family. There's so much truth in the Bible. I encourage you to dig into the Bible. I encourage you to have conversations with yourself, conversations with your spouse, and continue seeking out ways to grow through these things that we're not supposed to live with. We're not supposed to live like this. If you're looking for more resources, you can head over to our website, follow us on social media, listen to podcasts, YouTube channel, any of those things. Follow along as more resources come, because we're here to help you on your journey to becoming better.